I wanted to make a brief video about the membership community, Improve Your Relationships. It has launched, it is happening. We have members joining every day. And this video is to give you a heads up that if you find value in my videos, if the content resonates with you, and quite honestly, it's a bit of broad content. We talk about attachment injuries, attachment trauma, relational trauma, emotional development, family dysfunctional patterns, changing the old patterns, the old programming, having corrective experiences, and really looking at what is healthy relationships? How do healthy relationships survive? What skills do we need? And unlearning what no longer serves us, that were most probably adaptive behaviors to try to fit in to family scenarios, to have these dysfunctional relationships with family members, and it no longer serves you. So inevitably, no matter what video that I make, whatever the content is, it often, frequently, almost always comes back the question, well, how do I heal that? How do I change the pattern? It's captured in the one word, how. This is not a simple answer. It's about rewiring your brain, changing the old patterns, revisiting your losses, and purposefully, consciously participating in a grief process. The healing process is a grief process. And then also learning new skills about what are healthy relationships, what do they look like, and how do you get those skills. And at the core, it's about your relationship to yourself. All of this wrapped up is about maturity, and personal growth. And that is an ongoing process. It's not a quick fix. It's not about realizing you're broken or flawed or lacking. And if you could only figure out the right recipe to change something, in the next 6 months, you're going to be a totally different person. Probably not. This is about realizing this is a lifestyle choice, and it's what I call a plan of self-directed healing, where you are in charge. You are your own therapist. You activate your own inner wisdom. Now, you certainly will let in good information from other sources. You educate yourself on how to make those decisions, but you really identify your own innate, compassionate self and your own inner healer self. And you create the treatment plan based upon what you need to do. And you might need to seek out some support and help and healing and therapy process. But ultimately, a plan of self-directed healing is realizing that this is a very long-term, big vision. This is a lifestyle. This is not only who you're becoming, but who you're going to be for the rest of your life. That you've reached a certain end point in your suffering. You've run into a wall. And that wall is, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm sick and tired of this pattern of suffering in relationships repeating themselves, which probably has to do with some component of somebody is emotionally unavailable, somebody is shut down, and we are banging our head against the wall trying to figure out, well, how do we relate? How do we relate? Well, we're picking the wrong people. Or perhaps you also are yourself, keeping yourself unavailable. These are the things that I like to talk about. This is quite honestly what preoccupies all of my time. I really value looking at, uncovering, thinking about, engaging in a process of what does it mean to seek out healthy relationship. And my history around this work, different chapters and periods of time in my life where I lived in Chicago, I lived in Denver, now I'm living in Philadelphia. And I can look back and there's so much isolation. Yes, I sought out different workshops. Yes, I sought out, different healing modalities and groups of people and was very, very much supported and had a therapy in that process. It was very, very, very helpful. But many, many hours of sitting in a coffee shop, staring out a window, writing in a journal, many, many hours of long drives in the car through the mountains of Colorado, thinking, contemplating, reflecting. Now, we still need to do that. You need to do that. But it really, really dawned on me, plus all of the amount of comments that I get from my YouTube videos, we need a place where we come together, like-minded people who are acknowledging that they're not going to accept crumbs anymore of a little emotional interaction. Because emotional connections matter and we need emotional nourishment. And we are not accepting this kind of limitation on what that means. We have a higher vision, a better vision for relating in relationship. Now, back all those many years when I was going through this healing process myself, knew that that's what I needed, what I wanted, what was possible, and I valued that. And yet, simultaneously, or I was still in that moment doing that healing work by myself. That kind of self-reflection, contemplating, journaling, going for long walks by Lake Michigan. And it doesn't have to be all alone. We need each other, especially when it has to do with relationship. So I've created this membership community for us to come together. It is a smaller group, a more intimate group. There is a point in which it will be closed because it's going to keep growing and we don't want it to get too large. But there is a program that I have created. It is an 8-week program. You can join at any time. You do not need to join at week number 1. And every week has a discussion topic, which is a theme. And every week has a suggested activity, which is presented like homework. Every day, there's ongoing questions and dialogue and ways to interact with other people. I'm also offering videos inside of this community, very specifically questions and answer videos to have more dialogue around, well, what is a question you might have, and I'll create some video around that as well. So in addition to the weekly topic, in addition to the weekly activity, there's also something called Project Rewire that I created as part of the program, and it's called the monthly Project Rewire Challenge. And this is thought of as a field trip. You are encouraged to take a relationship field trip to move outside of your comfort zone and to go out into the world and to court, to invite a corrective experience of emotional connection. Now, it's a little more specific than that. I do offer some direction. It's not only that. There are specific themes or identified what this might look like. But ultimately, you get to decide, because the whole program is guided by the principle of self-directed healing. And self-directed healing says you're in the driver's seat and you're determining what direction that you want to go. If this interests you, if you would like to join us, if you want to learn more about the worksheets and the handouts that are all part of this program, such as the weekly planner, the What's for Lunch goals and task worksheet, the stages of transformation worksheet, there's a gratitude worksheet to explore. All of the worksheets, all of the handouts, all the suggested programs of the topic of conversation, these are vehicles to help create some structure and organization around what we need to talk about, which is ultimately about rewiring our brains, changing the old patterns, grieving either what happened and also grieving what didn't happen, which at face value can sound so confusing. This is a process that if you have been doing this for some time, if you're waking up to your suffering around relationships and you realize you cannot continue the same old pattern, you will have some innate sense, some awareness. This is not something that's just going to change overnight or something that's going to go away very quickly. This is about conscious participation with your own patterns, your habituated patterns that you're creating and recreating a certain degree of relationship suffering in your life. And it is time to change those patterns. So the community membership website is a place where people come together and they talk about what's their plan. They talk about what's working for them, what's not working, sharing resources. We're creating a library. We're discussing books, really getting a chance to immerse yourself in, well, what do you need to learn? So it's not the type of thing where I tell you what you need to learn. It's not the type of thing where there's any cookie cutter plan that you just have to follow, module 1, module 2, module 3. This is much more dynamic. And it puts you in a position where you have to participate in making choices. You have to participate in being accountable. You have to participate in putting effort and energy into your own healing work. And that's why I call it a healing lifestyle. If this interests you, this community membership website, Improve Your Relationships, please learn more at alanrobards.com/community. Please sign up. I'd love to have you. Thank you so much.